Landlord-tenant real estate questions. Question 1. A transaction file for a mixed-use property raises an issue involving an agreement among competitors to divide customers, territories, or property types. Which answer best resolves the classification? Option A, a time-in arrangement. Option B, market allocation. Option C, antitrust law. Option D, abstract of title. The correct answer is option B, market allocation. Independent strategic focus is lawful when it is not based on an agreement. Competitors cannot promise to stay out of one another's areas or specialties. The arrangement reduces competition by assigning business rather than competing for it. Question 2. Which concept should a buyer representative apply to facts involving the obligation to protect private information learned through representation? Option A, express agency. Option B, fiduciary duty. Option C, confidentiality duty. Option D, dual agent. The correct answer is option C, confidentiality duty. Negotiating limits, motivation, and personal circumstances generally remain protected unless disclosure is authorized or legally required. The duty can continue after the agency relationship ends. It does not permit concealment of material property defects that law requires to be disclosed. Question 3. Samuel is studying a rule concerning unauthorized use or control of money belonging to another person. Which term should be chosen? Option A, designated agency. Option B, agency by ratification. Option C, ministerial act. Option D, conversion. The correct answer is option D, conversion. Prompt restitution does not erase the original violation. The misconduct goes beyond improper mixing and involves treating entrusted funds as one's own. Strict trust-account controls are designed to prevent this harm. Stressed about your real estate? We can take real estate for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 4. When a rental home transaction involves the federal law establishing liability and cleanup authority for releases of hazardous substances, which answer identifies the controlling concept? Option A, CERCLA. Option B, lead-based paint disclosure. Option C, redlining. Option D, cloud on title. The correct answer is option A, CERCLA. Potentially responsible parties can face substantial cleanup obligations. Environmental due diligence may support statutory defenses for qualifying purchasers. Liability can extend beyond the person who originally caused the contamination. Question 5. A practice question describes a licensee engaged to represent a purchaser or prospective purchaser. Which response is best? Option A, express agency. Option B, buyer's agent. Option C, seller's agent. Option D, subagent. The correct answer is option B, buyer's agent. The relationship and compensation terms should be stated in the brokerage agreement. The representative assists with evaluation, offer preparation, negotiation, and protection of the buyer's interests. Confidential information about the buyer's motivation or maximum price must be protected. Question 6. During an offer review, which principle is illustrated by a buried container that can create soil and groundwater contamination risk if it leaks? Option A, Megan's Law Notice. Option B, abstract of title. Option C, underground storage tank. Option D is steering. The correct answer is option C, underground storage tank. Visual inspection alone may not reveal the tank or contamination. Environmental professionals should evaluate suspected conditions. Former heating-oil or fuel tanks may require investigation and regulatory compliance. Question 7. Which answer states the concept associated with a brokerage arrangement assigning different affiliated licensees to represent opposing clients while the broker manages conflicts under state law? Option A, special agent. Option B, reasonable care. Option C, general agent. Option D, designated agency. The correct answer is option D, designated agency. The structure is intended to provide representation within the same brokerage without one salesperson advising both sides. The supervising broker's role and consent requirements depend on the jurisdiction. Each assigned representative advocates for one client and protects that client's confidential information. Question 8. A buyer handling a warehouse in Lansing must identify a definite proposal communicated with intent to be bound upon acceptance. Which choice is correct? Option A, offer. Option B, right of first refusal. Option C, time is of the essence. Option D. To exclusive right minus to minus sell listing. The correct answer is option A. Offer. The terms must be sufficiently clear for the recipient to understand the proposed bargain. An advertisement is usually an invitation to negotiate unless it is unusually specific and leaves nothing open. The proposal can terminate through revocation, rejection, counter-proposal, lapse, or operation of law. Are you looking for real estate actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access real estate study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get real estate answer key today. Question 9. During a title examination for a townhouse in Novi, Elena needs to identify the rule described as a contractually stated amount recoverable after breach when it reasonably estimates anticipated loss. Which answer applies? Option A. Purchase agreement. Option B. Liquidated damages. Option C. Specific performance. Option D. Executed contract. The correct answer is option B. Liquidated damages. Courts may refuse enforcement when the amount operates as an excessive penalty. The provision should compensate rather than punish the breaching party. Earnest money clauses must be read carefully to determine the party's agreed remedy. Question 10. A appraiser is reviewing a vacant parcel in East Lansing. Which term describes a representation relationship created by written or oral agreement? Option A. Customer. Option B. Confidentiality duty. Option C. Express agency. Option D. General agent. The correct answer is option C. Express agency. The parties intentionally state that the agent will act for the principal. The scope of authority is determined by the agreement and applicable law. Real estate licensing law often requires the brokerage agreement to be written. Question 11. At an inspection period, a Michigan exam candidate encounters the following description: a high duty of loyalty, care, disclosure, obedience, accounting, and confidentiality owed by an agent to a client. Which concept is being tested? Option A. Material fact. Option B. Designated agency. Option C. Accounting duty. Option D. A fiduciary duty. The correct answer is option D. Fiduciary duty. The duty does not permit illegal instructions or dishonesty toward other parties. The agent must place the client's lawful interests above personal gain within the scope of the relationship. Material information must be communicated while confidential negotiating information remains protected. Question 12. Victor is assisting with an office building transaction in Grand Rapids. Which principle applies when the facts involve mixing client or trust funds with a broker's personal or operating money? Option A. Commingling. Option B. Loyalty duty. Option C. Agency by ratification. Option D. Buyer's agent. The correct answer is option A. Commingling. Even without theft, mixing funds can violate licensing rules. Conversion is more serious because it involves unauthorized use of the money. Separate accounts protect the owners of the funds and permit accurate accounting. Question 13. Which answer most accurately identifies one agent or brokerage representative acting for both sides in the same transaction with required informed consent in a real estate transaction? Option A. Obedience duty. Option B. Dual agent. Option C. Confidentiality duty. Option D. Client. The correct answer is option B. Dual agent. Without valid consent, representing both sides can violate agency law. The agent must remain neutral on confidential matters and comply with state-specific authorization rules. The arrangement creates inherent conflicts because the parties' bargaining interests may differ. Question 14. A question arising during settlement preparation concerns a person who has entered into an agency or brokerage agreement for representation. Which choice gives the best classification? Option A. Dual agent. Option B. A procuring cause. Option C. Client. Option D. Seller's agent. The correct answer is option C. Client. The representative owes fiduciary obligations defined by law and the agreement. Compensation alone does not necessarily determine who is represented. The relationship should be disclosed so other parties understand the licensee's role. Question 15. While analyzing a historic residence, Nora must apply the concept involving federal and state rules protecting competition from agreements that restrain trade. Which answer should be selected? Option A. Quiet title action. Option B. Price fixing. Option C. Reasonable modification. Option D. Antitrust law. The correct answer is option D. Antitrust law. Competitors cannot agree to divide markets, boycott firms, or fix prices. Brokerages must independently set commission rates, fees, and business policies. Industry custom is not a defense to coordinated conduct. Question 16. Which real estate term is defined by substitution of a new party or obligation with consent that releases the original party? Option A, novation. Option B, unilateral contract. Option C, a consideration. Option D, right of first refusal. The correct answer is option A, novation. All necessary parties must agree to the replacement. This distinguishes the arrangement from a simple assignment of rights. The former obliger is discharged rather than remaining secondarily liable. Question 17. In a transaction involving a subdivision lot, which rule controls when there is a deed transferring whatever interest the grantor may have without title warranties? Option A, asbestos. Option B, quitclaim deed. Option C, steering. Option D, Megan's Law notice. The correct answer is option B, quitclaim deed. It is commonly used between related parties or to resolve clouds on title. The instrument can release a possible claim or correct ownership records. The grantee receives no assurance that the grantor owns the property or that title is clear. Question 18. A salesperson asks about cancellation that seeks to return the parties to their pre-contract positions. Which answer provides the legally accurate concept? Option A, exclusive right to sell listing. Option B, purchase agreement. Option C, rescission. Option D, property management agreement. The correct answer is option C, rescission. Money and property received are typically restored as far as practical. It differs from damages that leave the agreement's consequences in place. The remedy may arise by mutual agreement, statutory right, or legal grounds such as fraud.
Stressed about your CNA? We can take CNA for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done.
Question 19. Talia encounters an agreement formed by an exchange of promises during a lease negotiation. Which principle should guide the analysis? Option A, buyer representation agreement. Option B, a consideration. Option C, open listing. Option D, bilateral contract. The correct answer is option D, bilateral contract. Performance occurs later even though the agreement is formed at acceptance. Most purchase agreements create reciprocal duties to convey title and pay the price. Each party becomes obligated when the promises are accepted. Question 20. Which choice best matches the description the broker activity that begins an uninterrupted chain of events leading to a completed transaction? Option A, a procuring cause. Option B, fiduciary duty. Option C, conversion. Option D, special agent. The correct answer is option A, procuring cause. Compensation disputes may turn on who caused the buyer and seller to reach agreement. Merely introducing a person to a property is not always sufficient if the chain was abandoned or broken. The listing and cooperation agreements govern the compensation analysis. Question 21. During review of a cooperative unit in Holland, the parties discuss a written contract defining the broker's duties, scope of representation, term, and compensation for a buyer-client. Which term applies? Option A, rescission. Option B, buyer representation agreement. Option C, exclusive right to sell listing. Option D, unenforceable contract. The correct answer is option B, buyer representation agreement. It should address exclusivity, termination, and the property or market covered. The agreement establishes agency and explains how the broker will be paid. The buyer and licensee must understand potential compensation from other transaction participants. Question 22. An exam scenario presents information that could influence a reasonable person's decision about a transaction. Which answer is most accurate? Option A, general agent. Option B, a procuring cause. Option C, material fact. Option D, ministerial act. The correct answer is option C, material fact. Known significant defects in transaction conditions must be disclosed when law requires. Confidential motivation is treated differently from a material property condition. The importance of the fact depends on its effect on value, desirability, safety, or bargaining. Question 23. A licensee preparing for an inspection period must recognize inducing owners to sell by suggesting protected groups are moving into the area and property values will decline. Which concept does this describe? Option A, actual notice. Option B, price fixing. Option C, underground storage tank. Option D, block busting. The correct answer is option D. Block busting. Marketing should never use protected minus class change as a reason to buy or sell. The conduct exploits fear and discriminatory assumptions for transaction activity. It is prohibited even if the licensee claims the statement reflects market opinion. Question 24. Which answer correctly classifies a situation involving a physical change to housing needed by a person with a disability? Option A. Reasonable modification. Option B. lead-based paint disclosure. Option C. Underground storage tank. Option D. Abstract of title. The correct answer is option A. Reasonable modification. Responsibility for cost and restoration depends on the housing type and applicable law. The request should be evaluated individually rather than rejected by a blanket rule. The resident may be permitted to install accessibility features subject to lawful conditions. Question 25. At a buyer consultation in Easton, Farah explains a contract transferring possession and use for a term while the owner retains title. Which real estate principle is involved? Option A. Bilateral contract. Option B. Lease. Option C. Purchase agreement. Option D. Property management agreement. The correct answer is option B. Lease. The document does not convey fee ownership to the occupant. Rent, duration, maintenance, and permitted use are central terms. The tenant receives of the rental agreement hold interest and owes duties stated in the agreement and law.